right, thank you, Matt, for that great explanation and a little tour here of the different varieties of trees and shrubs and plants that you have for the birds. So as he mentioned, the edges are a really good spot for the little sparrows and finches that are needing to survive the winter. So the edges really are the areas between the trees and mowed areas. So it's usually kind of thicker areas. Sometimes prickers are in there or rose hips, and sometimes you'll find some wildflowers. And I'm just going to point out a couple of those spent wildflowers that have turned to seed and now provide food for the little winter birds. So this here is Queen Anne's lace, and that will have very small seeds. They're a little fuzzy, so sometimes they actually could get caught on your coat or an animal's fur, but they provide food for the wildlife. Then there's a lot of different kinds of goldenrod. We're all familiar with that fall flower. They provide lots of little tiny seeds, those little birds. So if you are bird watching, you want to check out those edges, sometimes of thick weeds, for any movement of birds. And then you have asters. So these guys are, again, just the seeds in here. But the cool thing about the asters is sometimes after the seeds have gone, it almost looks like a whole nother little flower there. Now this isn't a flower, but it is a gall. It's a bunch gall, which is, a gall is created when an insect lays its egg on a plant, usually a leaf or the stem, and the plant has a reaction to it, creating a hard covering. Usually one egg inside each gall. And then that egg hatches and the larva stays safe inside there for the winter time. But believe it or not, that larva could become food for things such as woodpeckers. So they will often go to a goldenrod field and peck open that gall to retrieve the tasty larva inside. So another one that birds will utilize, this is thistle. Let me see if there's any, one little seed in there. Look how small that seed is. So the teasel, it is different than thistle, but they both have spines on them. And then one of my favorite winter wildlife pods is evening primrose, also known as banana bird seed, because the pods look like banana peels. And no seeds in there, but I know there's some in here. And I'm going to show you these just because they are so small. It is pretty amazing that this is what the birds feed upon, extract and feed upon in the wintertime. A lot of these wildflowers, are tall enough so that when we do get snow drifts, these little birds can still access their food source and it hasn't been covered up by the winter blizzards. So make sure that you check out these areas, and maybe if you come out to Schlefly, you might get some ideas on what type of trees or shrubs that you could plant in your own yard to help you attract not birds, but even other wildlife. So we appreciate you coming out today, learning a little bit about Schlefly and learning about some of the blooms and birds that we have here. Thank you so much.